Okay, thank you. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Gary Taylor, and today I'm going to run through how you can connect to Wasabi Cloud Storage using Megaport. This is part of the ongoing series of Megaport Live Tech Drop-ins. So Megaport is a networking service provider. Essentially, we provide the ability for customers to consume networking services in exactly the same way that you would consume cloud services. So real-time deployment, scale up, scale down, delete, migrate, redeploy, whatever it may be. So what makes Megaport different? Well, it's the reach. Megaport Networking as a Service platform is part of a virtualized global ecosystem built on pre-existing hardware. This gives you the ability to deploy capacity to all of the well-known cloud service providers, giving you access to thousands of IT services, as well as connectivity to other DCs, other third-party providers, and IX services around the globe. You get predictable performance, so it's having your own fiber private lines. It's highly secure. Your data travels on our private global network with no internet within the core. All of these components can then be linked together with virtualized network cross-connects, which we call VXCs, so virtual cross-connect. And these are typically layer 2 MPLS pseudo wires. And as stated, this can all be done in real time within just a few minutes, and the service is up. You only pay for the capacity that you need to deploy or the capacity that you configure. It's pre-built and virtualized, so you can scale up and scale down that capacity on demand. You don't have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. So this ensures obviously good end user application performance. What this does mean is that the NAS services are very cost effective. You can design, deploy, and be fully operational in minutes and be available for only the term that you need. This reduces your upfront infrastructure cost to zero, as your Megaport assets are virtual and require no capital investment or hardware provision. It's also worth mentioning that egress fees for all cloud providers via Megaport on-ramps are much, much lower. So obviously, when you typically consume cloud services, you do it on the internet, and the cloud provider's business model is essentially charging you for data, outbound data. So data egress costs are pretty high. And they are the highest when you do that via an internet connection. But obviously with Megaport, those costs reduce typically by 3/4. So what this means is that you can design, deploy, and monitor everything through a single portal, which I'll show you later on. It's point and click. You bring your cloud service keys, and this makes establishing physical connectivity or private connectivity very simple. We also support Terraform, and we have a full API integration if you need to use API or Terraform services. So quick overview of our coverage. We're available in North America, the EU, and Asia Pac as well. We have coverage in about 850 data centers, and of those, we have a direct presence in about 450, about 400. And that means installed. So whenever you see installed here, just do that there. Installed, that actually means that we have our equipment in that exchange. And then extended or enabled, this means that through the data center provider, you could order a Metro Connect or a Campus Connect, essentially an extended Ethernet service, and you can still connect to Megaport in the same campus as well, which gives our coverage to over 850 data centers. So going on to some of the ways of connecting, the first option here is hybrid cloud. And this allows you to connect to the Megaport ecosystem via a 1 gig, 10 gig, or 100 gig port. If you're in the same DC, it would then be a simple cross connect from which you would order from the DC provider or a last mile Ethernet provider if you're not directly on net. And from here, you can access multiple cloud providers. You can connect to other parts of your own network, layer 3 virtual services, or the internet through Megaport, or even a virtual edge service. In the case of Wasabi, you can connect from 1 gig to 10. So as a summary, you rent capacity on our network through a Megaport based on throughput or overall capacity of the port, 1 gig to 100. You get a letter of authorization automatically. You give that to your data center provider. They plug you into your DC or your cage or rack, and then they then plug you into Megaport. And from there, you're on net. You can deliver 100 VLANs or VXCs, as we call it, and you can connect to multiple providers or however you need to deliver the service. You can oversubscribe. So you can actually contain your network. You can run multiple 10 gig VLANs if you wish. And obviously that capacity management is down to you and for you to manage. The other very popular way of connecting is cross-cloud. And in this case, it utilizes our Megaport Cloud Router service, which is a virtualized layer 3 routing instance. It provides high performance, low latency cloud-to-cloud connectivity. It can remove hairpinning or tromboning network issues by delivering an optimum route directly next to the cloud. Because our MCRs are deployed where the majority of the cloud providers are, it does give you very, very high latency. So quite often, if you have a hairpinning issue, you can put an MCR in that location and it improves the performance of whatever service you're running if it's cloud to cloud. For the demo today, I'm going to use an MCR. I've deployed it already and I've connected to AWS and Google. And what I'm going to do then is show you how you connect to Wasabi. The other thing worth mentioning as well, it's a service which we call Virtual POP. It enables customers to deploy a virtual connectivity point of presence around the world in real time. It removes the need for physical hardware, and this is what we call the Megaport Virtual Edge, or MVE. It provides access to local and international cloud services, as well as a gateway for data to be delivered privately to data centers. We enable an internet feed, which is fully redundant and DDoS protected, and you can scale up and scale down that internet feed if you require. You can also delete the service. The MVE is available in over 80 locations globally, with multiple nodes per country, which improves on availability, resilience, and capacity. So really, the MVE can be seen as an extension to your firewall estate, or your routing estate, or SD-WAN. So as a quick summary here, if we look there, you stand up the resource, the Megaport Virtual Edge. We support majority of the most popular vendors, so Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN. We also support Cisco Catalyst 8000V, so the 8kV product. Aruba, FortiGate, VMware, Versa, and then from a firewall perspective, obviously FortiGate as well. Palo Alto VM series, Cisco FTD, so the firewall threat defense. So what you do is you stand up the resource, you deliver an internet feed, your end users connect in, and from there you connect privately into whichever service you need to connect to. So in this case here, we've got multiple clouds, we've got Wasabi, and we've got then other endpoints on the network as well. So if you have issues on your network where you need to remove or enhance as an SD-WAN offering, and you don't have a presence there or your telco doesn't, you can easily stand up the resource, connect back to your common entry point with the telco, or connect back to your own data center, and the service is live. And this is all real-time deployed, obviously API and Terraform enabled as well. So just focusing on the Wasabi cloud regions, they obviously are in North America, Europe, and Asia Pac. They have 13 data centers, including Japan and Singapore, and they will be enabling these locations with Megaport very soon as well. So just a brief summary of actually how you connect to Wasabi. So what you need to do is you complete a questionnaire, and I'll run through that briefly after this. Just detail there's some questions that are raised. Wasabi then create a service key in their Megaport portal. The key is sent to the customer. You take that key in your portal, and then you basically add that in via a Megaport or a MCR or a Megaport Virtual Edge. And obviously for the demo, we're going to do the MCR. And then for layer 3, the customer would use the static route details, which comes from the Wasabi questionnaire. And there we go. And then it connects back, and then you are on net. So I'm just going to quickly look at the questionnaire, and this is what you need to do to complete. By all means, speak to us, speak to Megaport, contact your local solution architect, and we can run through this with you. We can bring on a Wasabi resource as well that can provide the relevant guidance on how you need to connect and the most recommended way of doing it. Quick summary, standard information here is requested. They ask for details like if it's a 1 gig or 10 gig connection, is it public or private IP addressing, and if you use BGP as well. And then obviously submit that, you then get a service key back. And I've got that service key already, and I'll take that into the portal now and connect. Before I do that, I just wanted to show you the portal of our production environment. This is a demo portal, and this is a dashboard. It's a nice visualization of exactly what we of what you have delivered, and it makes things very easy on you're basically seeing how well you can actually deploy services with Megaport. If we just focus on Europe, I'll connect into Europe here. We have a widget capability as well. So this just confirms what ports are up or down, what VXCs are up. As you can see, there's lots of activity here. If I just go into full screen mode. And then if we look at Europe here, you can actually, these are all the services that we have available in that region. You can filter via just the services that you have live. Anything in green is up as a VXC, and these are services that are connected. Anything in red is a service that's down for whatever reason. More commonly, it's the Megaport on the other side. That Megaport has got nothing connected because it's a demo, so obviously the service stays green. You can filter based on where we have 100 gig ports, and in Europe, those are the locations. Also where we have MCRs or MVEs as well. You can also search on DC providers. So if we look at, say, Atlas Edge, this just confirms the Atlas Edge data centers that we have in Europe. It also allows you to search for DCs that you are not in and that you might wish to be in for resilience. So if you're in Atlas Edge and you want to connect to a provider that is not there for whatever diversity reasons, if we just go to, say, interaction, which is now DLR, and these are the interaction locations in Europe. So the dashboard gives a nice overall visualization of the services that you have. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to connect into our channel portal, and it's just a bit cleaner, which is why I like to use it. And if you look here, what I've deployed is an MCR. I've just chosen Amsterdam. I've connected AWS and Google. That's via BGP, and it's all privately connected. As you can see, BGP is up. And then I've also built a connection in North Sea. So this is the hybrid cloud model. From here, you could connect directly into Wasabi if you wish, or you can connect into via the MCR. And then if we look at the dashboard for my partner accounts, you can actually see what we've delivered here. So this is Amsterdam. We've got the MCR in DLR, and then we're connecting back to AM1. And these are the services that are live here. It tells you what's available. If I just go a bit closer, there. And then these are the two connections that I've built already. And then we've got North Sea out of EMEA at Schiphol connecting there. So actually deploying the Wasabi connection. I'm going to use the MCR. And the whole logic of this is that you might have multiple front ends, multi-clouds, multiple cloud providers. You could actually deploy a backend Wasabi cloud storage, object storage, and that can serve as your storage point for multiple clouds. You can also connect from your on-prem into the MCR, and you could actually still use the existing Wasabi setup for your on-prem. It doesn't need to be in a metro region. It could be anywhere in the world. But obviously, the further away you are, the greater the cost, because our pricing for non-metro services is based on bandwidth and obviously location. So going into Wasabi, we click on Connect. And then while we're here, just to let you know, this is where you connect to other parts of your own network. You can connect to third-party providers that have made their Megaport services public. And then here you can actually enter a service key that is given to you from a third-party provider. So what I'm going to do now, we click on Cloud. We'll go down to Wasabi. And I've got the service key here. It will connect into Amsterdam. It validates and makes an API call into Wasabi. The maximum speed configured as a gig. We click on Next. And I'm just going to call this Wasabi. Now, obviously, with Megaport, we've got fixed pricing for Metro. And as you can see, for a 1 gig connection in a Metro, it's €100 on a 1 month contract or 1 year contract. If you drop that down to, well, okay, 100, the price is the same because our pricing is fixed. So even if you have to order a 1 gig with Wasabi and you don't need a 1 gig and you're non-Metro, you can actually use Megaport and rate limit that service. So that does provide cost savings if you don't need the full capacity. Obviously, we're in a Metro in Amsterdam, so the price doesn't change at a gig. We click Next. And then this is the layer 3 information that we need to complete, which I've got already here. And this is provided from Wasabi based on that questionnaire. We're going to click on, that's the interface details. We're going to enable NAT. There's no BGP, it's a static route. And what we're going to do is the next hop of Wasabi, which I've got here. And we don't need the subnet because we've already confirmed that earlier. And then just for demo purposes, I'm going to the prefix, I'm just going to advertise that. I'm just going to use existing one here just to make it easier. And that's it really. Nothing more to it. This will now build that connection. We click add VXC. And then what we do here, we click order. So if you just want to check from a design perspective, you can actually deliver everything in the shopping cart. And that will just give you the pricing. But here we're going to order the service. It validates via API and it starts deploying that. So whilst that is deploying, you can actually, I'll give it a few minutes there. We can look at the looking glass. So this is a feature in our MCR. It's essentially it's a view of the route table. And what we can see here, we've got AWS live, or AWS is up, GCP or Google is up as well. And if we look at GCP, that's 153. What we can see here is that from GCP, we've received a /20, a 10.0 range, and we are advertising everything from AWS. So we're advertising the direct connections here, the 169 addresses, but we're also advertising a 1672 address, which has come from AWS. And if we look into the portal, we can actually see this is AWS, and this is the direct connect, which is live. This is at .14 here. BGP is up. And then if we go into Google, we can actually, has it kicked me out? No, it's not. And then this is the Google service that I've configured, and we can actually see the 10.0 range. And that is being advertised from Google to the MCR, and we are then advertising that to AWS. So if you look here, this is the AWS VXC. We've received 172 from AWS, and we are advertising to AWS the 10.0 range, which is Google. We support prefix filtering, so you can actually filter if you don't want to provide that level of detail. We can do that as well. The MCR also supports BFD, AS path prepending, so you can manipulate the route of the traffic. And that's it, really. So if we click into the portal, Wasabi takes a few minutes to come up, and that will then go live very shortly. And then just to show you how you can deliver a hybrid cloud connection, we're at the Megaport, which I've chosen as North Sea and Schiphol. We go private VXC. And then obviously the only other service I've got live is the MCR just up the road. We click next. And then here, I'm going to do a gig because it's fixed pricing. And then we're going to click next. I'm going to just call this, yeah, this one. And I'll leave this for now for demo purposes. Add VXC, we order it again. And this is now going to build a VXC from one side of Amsterdam into the other side. And then that is going to connect back to the cloud connections. And you can actually see that being deployed in the dashboard. If you remember before, there was no connection here. We've now got a red VXC, obviously, because there's nothing connected on the Megaport, so there's no light. So that will be down. And what we're doing here, the connection is coming from your on-prem environment into the MCR. And from there, we're delivering connectivity to 3 providers now, AWS, GCP, and Wasabi. And that's it, really. Nothing more to it. From my side, any questions, please get back to me. If you need any help on configuring that, helping with the Wasabi questionnaire, or if you need any technical guidance on what we offer, please contact us. Otherwise, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.